Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces, where we talk about watch collecting and horology. Today, I wanted to talk about holiday gifts for watch people. And I recognize we're already deep into the season. I mean, Hanukkah has already started. But the nice thing about, watch people gifts is there's not a rush at the stores for any of them. Now, um, the nice thing, like I was saying about watch gifts is number 1, they're accessible, but the other thing is that you can literally buy a watch gift at almost any price point, you know? Um, it's always nice to know also that this stuff is working because I haven't made it to the big leagues yet. I don't have a team or anybody, so it's me and my laptop, and sometimes I don't do it right. Or sometimes, like, in this case, I found out that, since I didn't have my external speaker on, it was somehow defaulting to my microphone as being speaker, but anybody who's worked with computers knows that sometimes they make stupid decisions. Um, but, when it comes to, holiday gifts, be it Kwanzaa, Festivus, Christmas, I mean, I'm raised Roman Catholic myself. I was an altar boy even. So, um, I'm kind of a Christmas person. Actually, I'm not kind of, I love Christmas. It's a cool time of year. And, the thing about it is you can literally buy a watch present for a watch person at you could probably find someone to gift you something that you can give a watch person. I was gonna pull out a pin tool, for example, you could give a watch person something as simple as a ruler that they can use to measure, lug widths or something. But one of the reasons that I wanted to bring it up, of course, is watch gifts make great stocking stuffers. And like I said, depending on how much you're willing to spend, you could do something like, Hey, here's a NATO strap," and you're out the door for $10. Or you could go all the way up to, here's a watch for X thousands of dollars and every step in between. So today I thought we could go through, some of the gifts you can give a watch person, and we'll start from the cheapest and we'll just go upward. And I mean, we know watches are at the top end, so we'll leave watches out of it. But let's talk about, watch gifts between the $5 and $50, $500 range. Like, for example, if you wanna really give a watch person a gift, I would give them a time grapher. I didn't think to bring my time grapher into show, but I have a whole episode on time graphers, craft furs. I've got a couple of episodes on time graphers, and for about 250 bucks, a time grapher makes a great heavy hitter gift for someone who's into watches and who may or may not have one. Gian, how's it going? Carter, how's it going? Jonathan, how's it going? Jimmy John, how's it going? How's it going? James, nice to see you. I'm really pleased to see all of you very kind people here because we did have a few technical glitches starting up, but a lot of people jump in later on in this stream anyway. So it works out one way or the other because I'll run a little long after the hour to make up for the late start so we can all talk about Christmas stuff. And one of the things that inspired me is I saw this in my local German Woolworths, right? Is 10 euros, 10 euros. And it has all the stuff that you would find in a $20, $30 packaged set. Because basically, one of these sets has this stuff in it and it's just in a box and they charge you twice as much. I mean, it's nice to have a box. And frankly, I bought this for myself specifically for that tool because, and that's one of the things I'm going to mention is if your friends have a watch kit, one of the gifts you can give them is a better tool for specific tasks, right? Because let's say, cheap gift, the rubber ball to get the back off of a screw off watch, a screw back case that's not too, you know, tightened up. In fact, most people loosen with the hard wrench and then do the final twists with the rubber ball. So a rubber ball is a great watch gift to a watch person if they have any screw back watches. But in my case, I this is a kind of a cheapy watch tool, but it's got a way bigger spread that it can go, and I got that 65 millimeter, there it is, the 65 millimeter aviator watch that I've never had a chance to open up because I don't have a tool big enough to access that. So in this case, a cheap tool works because it has a bigger spread than a more expensive tool. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, there is a punch out in the handle. I'm gonna punch that out. But it has a little pin tool, pair of pliers, some punches, a hammer, a bracelet link tool, a back knife, pair of tweezers, some halfway decent screwdrivers. They're probably good for 1 or 2 uses because the thing about small screwdrivers is once the edges on the tip get a little rough, it could damage the screw. That's why, most jewelers have a polishing stone or a polishing, platform for their screwdrivers because they sharpen their screwdrivers on a regular basis, which what I was saying is, let's say your friend has a watch toolkit, a basic one, you could always up their game by giving them better watch tools. Like this is a high-end back tool because you can adjust the gap between the two tops here, and you can adjust the, between the bottom so you can have it fit pretty much anything under 44 millimeters or so. And they make bigger ones, of course. But if you think about what's in a cheap watch kit, a better tool is a good, stocking stuffer, friend gift, something that's not a lot of investment, but will bring a smile to their face because it isn't something they may have, So at the low end, go with a rubber ball. At the high end, go with a really nice back tool. You can go in between. Or for example, this is a hardcore spring bar tool. And in watches like Rolexes or a lot of watches that have very tight tolerances, having a good spring bar tool, because yeah, you can, have a halfway decent spring bar tool. Like this is a good aftermarket spring bar tool. It's got a pin tool on one end and the fork tool on the other. And something like this would cost you about 10 to 15 bucks. And that's a great gift to someone who may have like little dinky pin tool, and this gives them a bigger moment arm. They can work better, put more pressure on the pin, and get it out cleaner without risking, scratching the watch as much. Or, like I said, a pin tool like this lets you reach in. If you can see the little pointies on them, there we go. Use the back of the watch case there as like contrast, and you can push both ends of the pin at the same time, which is, like I said, really good for watches like Rolex and the like that have very tight tolerances. And it's really hard to do one side then the other because it's not a lot of space to work with. So a pin tool that does both sides at the same time is a very useful thing. And a pin tool like this will run you about 20, 30 bucks, right? So we're not talking about breaking the bank, but again, this is a tool that you give to your watch person friend. You don't have to worry about if it's the right size, the right color, if it fits. They're going to love this thing. A good pin tool is worth its weight in platinum because it keeps you from scratching your watch. If you use your tools properly and you have good tools, you don't scratch your watch. And an unscratched watch is worth its weight in gold. So you can go and like I said, once you start the back, you can finish it off with the rubber. The point is that you can literally give a watch person a cheap gift. And if it's a thoughtful cheap gift, it will hit the spot. It'll make them happy. For example, another good gift would be a loop, right? A little pocket loop. See, this one's a pocket loop. You cover it so you can stick it in your pocket. You open it up. It's got lights in it. A loop like this, no watch person would turn their nose up at a loop, especially if they don't have one. I mean, they might have an old school like single loop, and this is a nice double loop with a light in it. This is the light. This is the kind of loop you take if you go watch shopping, so you can look at details while you're shopping, and you got the light. So even if it's a dark shop because they don't want you to see the scratches, you can. Peter Kotz is in the house. Hey, Peter. I have, Peter. My heart goes out to him because he's one of the good bloggers out there. I watch his show regularly, and he has deigned to look at my show, and he's even sent me some nice kind words on Instagram. So, hey, Peter, nice to see you in the house. Um, but it's all about passion. And I like to think that's maybe why, he and you are all watching this channel because I just want to talk about watches. I have no agenda. I'm just a collector like you. I just happen to have these tools because I'm a journalist in my daytime. So I got all these, cool tools. I might as well use them to help proselytize our hobby, our community, our channel. Because as I've said many times, this channel is nothing without you. It really isn't. I'd just be a crazy watch guy yelling at the walls in my apartment by myself. So, let's see. Look at some of these lovely comments from these cool people. Gian, I think this is becoming a habit that every time Alex goes live, there will be glitches. Well, until I can get a team, I need some young go-getting person because I'm just, like I said, it's all me here. So occasionally I have the glitches. Um, Jimmy, I really appreciate you, liking the channel. Peter, good to hear I'm back. Thank you, my friend. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate it. Jimmy John, please don't forget to hit the like button for my man. Oh, aren't you nice? Um, Jimmy, let's get likes up. Okay, Jimmy. Brand. Okay, here we go. Here's a question. James, do any brands, sellers, or marketplaces offer gift vouchers? I thought that would be a make good gift for watch enthusiasts. I am not a gift certificate person. Give them cash or give them the thing. Because if you give them a voucher, you're limiting their choice. Give them cash and tell them that you intended it for that. You know what you do is you get them something like this and wrap it in a couple of 20s, right? You know what I mean? Or you get something like that and you wrap $100 bill around it. Then it shows that you thought about it, but you're not trapping them with a voucher. I personally don't know if anybody's doing vouchers. I mean, obviously, some of the online shops almost certainly do. Some of the online vendors, almost certainly offer some kind of gift certificate, Joma Shop or Brogle or one of those people. But my gut is give them cash. If you want to show that you thought about it, give them something little and give them cash with the little thing to show them that you thought about them, but you didn't want to trap them into, maybe they don't want a Milanese bracelet and they'd rather have the $100, you know? So you give them the ball and you wrap it in a $100 bill. Or give them something cool that they'll use occasionally, but it's not a big thing. Like this is a one of those cell phone microscopes, right? So you plug this into your cell phone and you got yourself a little microscope. So that way, when someone's trying to offer you that Patek Philippe, you can look at it with the microscope and see the Solita proof marks on it, which is an episode coming up. And I finally decided what I'm going to do because I had a friend who really wanted it, and he promised me he would tell everybody it's fake. And I thought, let me take it apart during the show and give him the pieces. But then I realized, no, I bought it to smash it, and I'm going to smash it. So we're going to do an episode probably this coming week where we do a really close up look, even with the microscope on the Patek, and I'm going to smash the crap out of it because that's what I bought it to do. And fake watches shouldn't be around because there's a direct line from a fake watch to the timepiece gentleman scandal. Any allowance of fraud allows fraud. And that rot goes deep once you let it in. So, but let's go back to talking about watch gifts. So, poly watch, if the person's got a watch with a plastic crystal, poly watch, and this is a deluxe kit, it even has a little polishing wheel that you can put. So you can put your poly watch on and you don't even have to work your little fingers too hard. And something like this, it costs you about $20. And again, the most snobbish watch person on the planet, if they've got a Hesalite Speedmaster, they're not going to say no to this. All right. And then, of course, if you have that little polishing wheel, that means you need to get yourself like a little power screwdriver, power drill, little teeny one. You don't need to drill through walls. You want to just do things like polish stuff. And I must admit, I do use this to drill holes in my rubber straps for the buckle because you use a hole punch or something. You want to have a nice clean hole in the $300 rubber strap that you bought for your JLC. So I put an extra hole in the strap with the drill to make a nice clean hole. Or, like I said, you can put the polishing wheel from the uh, poly watch on the little micro drill. And since you're not using a big horsepower drill, you're not going to buff through the crystal. But yeah, the thing is that all of these tools, and this one's not even a direct watch tool, it's just of benefit to watch people. You give them something like this, and that floats a lot of boats, you know. Again, another tool that I would recommend for a watch person is just a nice set of really good screwdrivers. Really good screwdrivers are really worth it, because if you're doing screwed links in a bracelet or screwed lugs for the pin, um, like I said, these screwdrivers are good for about 1, 2 uses before the tips are useless. These are good for more. The tips will also blunt, but they're designed with they've got harder steel and all, and these are easier to polish back into a nice clean flat, and they give you the multiple sizes and all of this. These are German Donau Elektronik out of Metten, Schlitzschraubendreher. And so this goes from point 0.8 to 2 millimeters. So a gift like this you give to a watch person doesn't have to fit, doesn't have to be the right color. You don't have to worry about them saying, "Ooh, I don't know if I can use this." Of course, if they have more than 2 watches, they can use this. Okay. Um, and that's the nice thing about giving a watch person tools. But never hurts to give a watch person straps, right? NATO's, Milanese, leather, you know, you give somebody some straps and you're giving them flexibility with their watches. So, let's see. Peter. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I know Peter's a geek. He's a cool guy. He's a geek at heart. That's true. Sheehan saying nice things to Peter. Our watch box is a good gift. I was actually going to go to that next, because I don't mean necessarily, I personally wouldn't gift a watch box for display in the home. You know, like a case like this, I would not necessarily gift someone, because I'm trying to point out gifts that you don't care if it matches, if the color's right, if it fits. A case like this, you'd have to make sure that they're interested in a case like this. But a case like this, everybody can use. You can buy there's a little one watch case. The watch is awesomely protected. It's it's semi-hard case. Anything that would deform this case to damage the watch would destroy the luggage that it's in. And this is from the Watch Box Company. There are other companies that make it, but a case like this will run you about 10 to 20 bucks. And again, doesn't have to matter about the size, the color, does it fit? Anyone who owns a watch, even if they only own one watch, gives them something to put it in when they throw it in the drawer. All right. So I would say yes to watch boxes, but travel watch boxes. Here's a 4 watch case, right? Beautiful, nice, clean, fit in the luggage. And I always keep this, I still keep the silica gel in it because it's a desiccant, keeps the watches dry inside the case. But a travel box is a perfect gift. A box like this costs 30 to 50 bucks. And again, don't have to worry about if it fits, if it's the right color. Did they need one? If they don't have a case and they have more than one watch, they need a multi-case. If they only even own one watch and they don't have a case, they can use a one watch case. Cases are awesome gifts for watch people, because unless they think of it, they don't normally buy one. And you see a lot of people throwing their stuff in the drawer. So even if you just give them something so that they can put it in it when they throw it in the drawer so it doesn't get scratched, you're ahead of the game. But a good travel case, and then you feel all cool and stuff, James Bond unpacking your utility box or whatever. And there are so many other, I mean, for example, I was going to recommend this as a gift. This is the toolkit you need to take the back off of a Rolex, right? Without damaging it. And other watches of that nature. It's got a whole set so you can make sure you get the right size, because that's the key with tools. They The reason tools have to be precise is an imprecise tool can slip in its place and scratch what you're working on. You do not want loose tools. You want very clean, very precise, very sharp tools because they prevent your stuff from getting scratched. They bite clean, they do their job, you know. You put the thing on the handle, you can put some force on it, and frankly, you could put a lot of torque on it with that. And then you should also have maybe a vise for the watch. There are a lot of tools you can get someone who even has tools and add to their tool set. If they have a cheap caliper, get them a nice electronic caliper. And since with watches, you want a carbon fiber set of teeth so that way it can't scratch the watch, right? You see people who wrap tape around it. Don't do that janky stuff. Give your friend a carbon fiber digital caliper and they'll never scratch their watches and they'll always know their lug width, right? And in that light, if they're a shopper, right? If you're going hardcore shopping, take the loop that you gave them for a gift, right? You give them that nice loop and they can take it around and do all of them, looking stuff up and give them a diamond tester. Now, a diamond tester tells you the hardness of the material and it's a little, oh, but my battery's dead. Oh well, it happens. But I was going to show you the little bouncing lights, but you don't have to know really how to use it to detect diamonds because for sapphire, you just want to make sure it's not glass. So as long as it shows that it's hard, it's sapphire. You don't have to know how hard it is. You just know it's harder than mineral crystal or glass. So you know it's sapphire. So a diamond detector and a diamond detector will, again, we're talking $30 to $50 tool. And again, doesn't have to fit, doesn't have to be the right color. And if the person's a watch person, they're gonna even if only to check their own watch and go, ha, it's real sapphire. That internal verification helps too. So the key is you could spend $5 or you can spend more than 5,000 and anywhere in between. Let me see. Oh, here. This is another good one. These guys are famous. Cape Cod polishing cloths. My daughter gave this to me one year, and they really are good polishing cloths. And the nice thing about a polishing cloth, as opposed to a buff polish, if it's fine scratches, a polishing cloth will take them out or at least gloss them over and you don't feel as bad about them because scratches build character in a watch. If you're wearing it and it's your watch and you don't intend to sell it, what's some scratches? That way your great grandkid will say, "Oh, you see that little nick? That was the time my father almost lost his leg with this chainsaw." You know. Let's see some more. How about buying someone a beginner watchmaking class? That would be a great gift. It would be. That is an awesome gift. In fact, my girlfriend offered to send me to one, and she owes me that for 1 year, so we had to figure that out for me to go because I want to go to Glasgow for one of those 3-day classes, which is more than she wanted to spend. So I figured we'll split the cost. But I want to take one of those bigger classes over at Glasgow. And now that I got friends over at Bruno Sunla, I've got a reason to go to Glasgow and visit some people. I hope you all liked the last review of their piece. I've got one more piece to review from them. I got to send them back. But this week, like I said, I'll probably do the Patek smashing, the fake Patek smashing, and then I've got my Nicholas Rusek that I haven't reviewed yet, and then I'm going to review the other Bruno Sunla watch. And Seiko is supposed to be sending me one of their pieces, so I'll have a Seiko loaner to review as well. Let's see. But watch classes are definitely a good gift. Yorick. Hello, Yorick. I don't know you well, but you're probably a cool person. I'm trying to play off the Hamlet. I knew him well. Uh, Yorick, the easiest way to make me happy is a watch book or starting next year tools to work on watches because I want to start doing that with cheap movements. Well, Yorick, don't forget there is an intermediate step, right? You don't have to open it up to have tools for a watch. Uh, Spring tools, measurement tools, evaluation tools, changing bracelet tools, polishing tools. even the simple rubber ball. So I would say the rubber ball is probably the lowest end of the gift that you could give a watch person and that they would actually appreciate. But even the snobbiest, richest watch person will appreciate a rubber ball if they have a watch with a screwback case. Another good gift is a funky type of watch. This is a Nixie tube watch. A Nixie tube is an old school way of making numbers. They're literally like wires for, you could probably see a little bit of the outline of numbers in there. The tube heats up the appropriate number and then that number glows. So it's just a sequential um, 1 to 0 or 0 to 9, depending on how you look at your numerical um, nomenclature. And it's a funky way to have a nice, cool clock. And something like this will run you maybe 200 bucks, right? But it's a fun way to show time to a watch person. Or buy them a retail wall clock. Retail wall clocks are cool ways to show watch stuff to people who like watch stuff, right? There are just lots and lots and lots and lots. And for the people who came in late, I was showing how I picked this up at Woolworths for 10 euros. And even if some of these tools are only good for maybe 1 or 2 tries before they get blunt and are no longer useful, the average person probably isn't going to do it more than the 1 or 2 times they change their bracelet anyway. And something like this is actually a straightforward, everybody's got one of these kind of tools. There's a metal version of this, but most kits have this exact same tool in it. In fact, like I was saying before, this kit is essentially what you get in, for 10 euros that you get in like a 20 euro kit just with a case in it. Because this has got screwdrivers, pin bar, block, hammer, drive pins, and a pair of pliers. And I paid 10 euros for this thing. You cut off the part that has the prices and just wrap it, and boom, you got a stocking stuffer there. Tools are always a good gift to give people. So boxes, tools, classes, they're just tons and tons of ways to give a watch person. And the nice thing about watch gifts is they can be really last minute because, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's not like there's a rush at the stores to pick up, watch travel cases. There's no pressure on those products. They're in stock right now. It's not like Teletubbies or, well, no, Beanie Babies or whatever the heck that stuff was. There's no rush at the stores for pin tools or um, diamond testers or loops. Again, a good pin tool is always a nice gift to give somebody. Even if they have a toolkit, let's say they have one of these. Pardon me, I'm fighting some kind of chest thing, I think. And even if they have, a basic toolkit, you can up their game by sorry, by giving them better individual tools. So if they, let's say they've got, the rubber ball and the back tool with the 2 pins from the $10 kit, you can get them a nice 3-point back tool. Buy something like this independently, cost you 15 to 25 bucks, depending on who you get it from. And a tool like this, like I said, don't have to worry about if it fits, don't have to worry about the color, you don't have to worry about anything, because even if they never use it, it'll make them feel good that they have the right tool. Because that's the other thing about a tool. They may never use the tool you give them, but they appreciate it and they're not going to send it back because you never know. You might need the tool. So cases, little microscope set. Like I said, if you hadn't seen that, I talked about the little microscope set. Watch people should have a way to examine a watch closely, be it a loop or a USB microscope or a big magnifying glass on an arm. You want to be able to look closely at the watch, especially if you buy a lot, because as I'm going to point out in the Patek, this is a super clone. It's got a Solita movement in it. So it's a Patek super clone with a Swiss movement in it, but under extreme magnification. Sellita still puts their maker's mark on the watch movement, so you can see where they fudged it to make it kinda look like a Patek, but you can also see that it's a Sellita movement from the original maker's marks if you have a sharp enough microscope. So that's why, loupes and magnifying glasses and microscopes are always a great gift to give a watch person as well. And the classes, as was brought up. James always has great ideas like that. And as far as watch books, I've got a copy of A Man and His Watch, and there are a bunch of other nice books out there, and of course, various catalogs. Some catalogs are worth going out of your way to get your hands on, like the Lange catalog. I've never owned one, but I got their catalog from a few years back because just to have a book full of beautiful pictures of beautiful watches, and also let people know you got a little bit of watch interest. It's like someone who's into cars who has a Ferrari book on their coffee table, even though they could never afford a Ferrari. Just because you can't afford a Ferrari doesn't mean you're not a car enthusiast. So, James York, great idea. I think old watch catalogs or magazines would be fun gifts too. Agreed. Jonathan, hi, did I pull the trigger on the wall clock? Yes, I did. It's a Sattler regulator. It's actually the model that they offer for self-assembly as well, but the watchmaker who I'm dealing with, he's retiring, which is why he's the one I bought that 65 millimeter Messerschmitt from because he's retiring, so he's liquidating his stock. In fact, he's where I got the Fortis spacecraft. That's a rocket ship. The demo, the display for Fortis displays, and I've also got a Fortis helmet right there, pilot's helmet, and I got them both from him because he's retiring, and so he knows I'm an enthusiast, so he's been giving and selling me his displays. Like I paid for the helmet, and I was gonna pay for the rocket, and but then I bought the wall clock, and he says, "Well, you can have the rocket then." But the clock was selling for 5K, and he's letting me have it for 3. And he's gonna come over and install it for me, which is the big point because a clock with that and it's a pendulum clock, and with those tolerances, I'd rather have somebody who really knows what they're doing to put it in. So that's my Christmas gift for myself is that wall clock. And once I have it up, it'll be I'm going to replace I'm going to replace these two posters. That's actually a magazine cover from Evaluation Engineering, which I used to be the editor in chief of. And I'm just going to move them to different locations, but I'm going to put that it's about a meter and change long. So I'm going to put that wall clock, the Sattler clock right there. And it's a regulator, the Mechanica model. It's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to having it here. And we'll have a whole episode once it's hanging there. We'll talk about it. So, Jimmy John, I'd like to get the new 39 millimeter Heritage diver on a bracelet. See, again, that's the nice thing about watches. You can go from the low end or you can go all the way up to giving them a watch, right? And give yourself a watch. You're your best friend, right? You should be your best friend, and give yourself a nice gift for Christmas. Yeah, that would be a nice piece. That really is a nice piece. Longines is on a roll, and actually, I would I like Jody over at Just One More Watch, but he recently said that Christopher Ward makes watches that are better than Longines, and no, no, no. Maybe Christopher Ward's mainstream pieces are as good as Longines mainstream pieces, but until Etta's making a column wheel chronographs just for you, no, no. And the bel canto is a nice piece, but it's a Sellita jumping hour with a trick gong attached to it, so it's a one beat sonnery. Bel canto's a nice piece, but it's not the holy grail. And frankly, if it came to a bel canto or a Longines master collection um, moon phase calendar with a column wheel chronograph, I'm going with the Longines because that bel canto is a beautiful piece, but it's a one trick pony. whereas that Longines moon phase calendar master collection with the column wheel. And the thing is, they make the same watch without a column wheel in the Longines Conquest moon phase calendar. So they obviously could make it without the column wheel, but they make it in the master collection with the column wheel. And so until Christopher Ward is making column wheel chronographs with moon phase and calendar at the level of finish that Longines is, no. Christopher Ward's a nice company, but they're not on the caliber of Longines yet. They're starting to compete. I agree with him when he says that they're giving, people like Oris and Mito looking over their shoulders, but frankly, Oris and Mito also have very well made pieces, and Christopher Ward is now punching at that level, but they're not punching above that level. No. Mm-mm. But yeah, they're not a bad piece. If someone gave me a bel canto tomorrow, I wouldn't. I'd wear it proudly. They make good watches. It's just I think Jody was getting a little. Is it Jody at Just One More Watch? I think it's Jody, or is it no? Adrian's at Bark and Jack. But yeah, Just One More Watch. I can see where he's all excited because they have been making some nice pieces, but nah, Christopher Ward's not there yet. They're getting there though. That would be a good gift because those are reasonably priced watches that, for the price point, they do punch above their weight. But yeah, at that point, I would go with the Longines because that's a really nice piece and it has a nice heritage. It looks nice and it's very well made. So yeah, that's a good piece to get, that 39 millimeter. So Jimmy John, dial color. I want one too, but I'm torn between the two. Well, I'm a blue watch person. I love blue. I love my blue watches. And like I said, I'm really stoked. I finally got the factory rubber for this Polaris. It really does. And well, the funny thing is, just like the Longines, it's a compressor design with an internal timing bezel. Coinkadink, coinkadink. Let's see. Gian, I was thinking about some 5-slot watch boxes, but that single watch case is nice. Well, buy 5. No, I mean, it depends on what you want with the case, right? So, if you want it for a display, I would get a nice display. Frankly, I'd get something that would spin 3, So you have a case that spins 3, and they usually have, like, maybe 4 or 5 slots in front, or spins 2 and holds 3 or 4 slots in front. Then you have the 2 most finicky to reset, or the ones you wanna keep hot all the time spinning, and you don't have to have them spin all the time. You can have them spin occasionally, turn it on and off every few days. Um, or just turn it on when you wanna, do hot rotation. But, yeah, deciding whether to have a display case versus a travel case, I would say your first case should be a storage case, a travel case or a storage case, so you have something to protect them, and then your next case could be a display kind of case so you can show your pieces off, but still with some protection and modest level of security. This wouldn't keep a thief out, but it'll keep idle hands out, like cleaning people or service people or whatever. I have a real safe to put my pieces in when I'm away for long periods of time, and when I'm away for even longer, obviously, I either have a friend watch them or I put them someplace because everybody remembers what happened to Paul Pluta, Archie Luxury. So let's see. But cases are always good gifts for yourself or for others. Robert, I agree with the strap, but I think there's a situation where a gift card would work. A gift card from a custom watch strap maker. Have to get my 19 millimeter straps from a custom maker. Well, what I would do, Robert, is then I would I'd give them a pin tool and cash. And then they could buy, and maybe the link to the strap person. But either get them the strap or let them make their own decision. But then if you give them a pin tool, at least it shows you thought, and then you give them cash so they can spend it how they want. But if you give them a voucher, vouchers aren't bad, but as I was saying, vouchers restrict the person and what they can buy. What happens if they want a rubber strap, not a NATO? Right? So you get them the pin tool and you give them 50 bucks and then they can buy whatever strap that, well, not whatever costs less than 50, or you're subsidizing. Maybe they want to make the leap and get a Vanguard for 130, you know? But I'm not a big gift certificate voucher fan, you know? Buy them a case and stick a $50 bill inside. Then it shows that you thought, because that's what, right? Because isn't that what a voucher is really? A voucher is really a way to show the person that you thought about what you're giving them, but you're not sure, and you don't want to offend them and give them the wrong thing, so you're giving a voucher. But that's, like I said, that's kind of a mixed message, because you're showing that you thought about it, but then you're restricting their choice. So you're almost saying, well, I couldn't decide what to get you, so now I've restricted you to buy the gift I wanted to give you, but let you make the final decision, which is, again, not bad. But why not just give them the cash and then they can do whatever they want with it? And then, like I said, stick it inside of a watch case so that way they know you thought about them and you actually took the time to get them something, but you're giving them the opportunity to jump, right? Or get them a loop and stuff a 20 in there or something, you know? There are ways to show that you thought about them without committing yourself to a major purchase. Give them the cash along with a small, thoughtful gift, like a little pocket power screwdriver drill or calipers with graphite tips so they don't scratch their watch, right? Stick $100 bill in there. Then it shows that you care, shows that you know what they want, and it gives them the freedom of choice at the end. That's my advice on that, you know. Get them a little bag of Poly Watch and stick $100 bill in there. And nobody, like I said, if they've got plastic crystal watches, that you could be a watch snob and got a Hesalite Speedmaster. They're not going to turn their noses up at some Poly Watch, right? Or a nice set of screwdrivers, engineer screwdrivers, or a good back tool, or a funky Nixie tube, or like I was saying, get them an assortment of NATOs, and that way they may only wear one or two, but you've given them a gift as opposed to giving them another choice to make. You know, it's like you're pushing you're delegating the management decision to them. Oh, Jimmy John, I like both, but I probably get the blue since I don't have a blue dial. Oh, you definitely got to get a blue. Everybody needs at least one blue watch in their collection. I don't know about definitely having to have a green, but you definitely should have a blue. Probably a black and a white or light color. James, that's a good way to support an artisan watch strap maker too. Well, then buy one of their straps and gift it. You know, um, like I said, what happens if they don't like that artisan strap maker? You're locking them into making a choice they don't necessarily want to make. Buy them a strap from the maker that you think that they would like. Then at least, you know. But if you're on the fence and you're not sure if they would like a strap from that guy, then why give them a voucher and lock them into that decision? Buy something from that watch strap maker, because they almost certainly have tools. Then if they're selling straps, buy them a toolkit from that company, or a, bespoke pin tool and some cash, and then shows that you cared and it shows you thought, but you're not locking them into a decision. I don't know. That's just how I feel about that, and obviously your mileage may vary. Uh, the dive watch is my favorite style of watch, says Jimmy. Well, dive watches are cool pieces, right? They're rugged by definition. They're legible by definition. They're sporty by definition. And well done, they can look awesome. Awesome. I mean, technically, this is a dive watch, right? The nice thing about dive watches is there's no hard and fast rule, except it should have a timing bezel and it should be at least 100. Well, for a dive watch, it has to be at least 100 meters water resistant. But yeah, so if you have a watch that has a timing bezel and is 100, meters water resistant. You have something that you can at least use in the kitchen. Time stuff. Oh, James to Jimmy John. I'm the odd duck that prefers dress watches, but I still have a lot of divers. Well, like I said, the Polaris is a technically a dive watch, and put this on leather, and it's a dress watch. That Longines Legend Diver, you put that on a leather strap. You can wear it with a business suit. Um, Most of your compressors are good dual purpose sports dress watches. And of course, James Bond kind of did um, soften us to the idea of wearing a dive watch with a suit, although I wouldn't personally myself. See, Jimmy John, yeah, I'll be retiring soon and don't have much use for a dress watch. I like tool watches. Well, you can always wear the dress watch on Sunday, or put the dress watch on a NATO strap and sporty it up a little bit, or a rubber strap. Like I occasionally put my Nicholas Rusek on a rubber so I could wear it with jeans and dress it down a little bit, but it's still a really cool chrono GMT, column wheel vertical clutch chronograph. But dressing it down with a rubber or a NATO helps a lot. Pardon the cough. So, Yorick, for people who wouldn't mind giving a 290 Swiss franc gift, an MB&F Oscilloglass would be very nice. It's like a mechanical hourglass. Well, hey, that's a good gift idea. I might buy one of them for myself. Although I just did buy that wall clock, so I guess I've tapped out my Christmas gifts. Anything beyond that would be self-indulgence. Maybe. Okay, Jimmy John. When you give someone a watch, they think about you every time they look at their wrist. I agree. I love giving people watches. I consider it positive voodoo magic, because everybody forgets, for all the negativity given to Haitian voodoo magic, it's really sympathetic magic. It's just, likes and likes. If you like one of the potions I always thought was an interesting one because it actually has a weird scientific logical part to it. And it might sound a little rough, so warning up front. But supposedly, if you are in love with a man, you should take a piece of steak and wear it in your shoe for a couple of days. Literally, put the piece of meat in your shoe and walk around on it, um, and then cook it and feed them with it. And that sounds weird at first, but then you think, well, wait a second. You walk on it for a day or two, it's going to be really tender, isn't it? And your feet sweat, so your pheromones are going to be in the meat, and pheromones and interesting presentation. You never know. There might be some logic behind that. But the whole thing about voodoo magic, you give someone a nice gift. When they look at that gift, they think of you. That's magic. It's sympathetic magic. It's not like cauldrons and witches and stuff. Sympathetic magic is cool. Right? I mean, okay, sympathetic magic goes to voodoo dolls and the negative side, but like I said, think of the positive energy of it. Give someone a watch. Give them a nice strap. Because if you give them a nice strap and they put it on the watch they're looking at, they see the watch, they see the strap you gave them, they think of you too. Or when they're working at their workbench and they pull out the tool, they think of you too. So that's an excellent point, about that aspect of when you're looking, Jimmy John. So, Gian, I'm actually gonna do that. Giving my father a Hamilton Jazzmaster automatic. Yeah, Hamilton's making some really nice Jazzmasters lately. They just came out with a really nice Jazzmaster Chrono, that looks very Daytona-ish. And as I've said many, many times, I'd rather a and the thing about the Jazzmaster is that it has its own legacy, so it's not really a straight Daytona homage. They're just styling it in that sense. So it's kind of an homage because the Jazzmaster has its own legacy. So that's a great watch to buy instead of, a fake Daytona. Buy yourself the Jazzmaster chrono. I'm not sure which model. Let's see, one second. I think you did mention the specific model. Well, no, you said Jazzmaster Automatic. There are a lot in the Jazzmaster space. They have that nice open heart one that's also nice too. That dress watch, and the open heart's interesting because it's like a sector. It's not a round hole. It's a long window with some jutting aspects to it to let you see. It's almost like, a dress that like occasionally shows the women's legs as she walks. It's that Jazzmaster open heart, like, you know, tantalizes you with the movement. It's not throwing it in your face like some skeletons do. So, but any of the Jazzmasters are great watches. Totally great gift to give. Let's see. Yorick, I have the 2022 Lange catalog book as it's my favorite brand. I like Lange a lot. I wish I could afford an Odysseus or Odysseus, as the Germans call it. I would love to get an Odysseus. That is a really nice watch. I'm not 100% in love with its design, but in the flesh, it is a dramatic piece. It really is. Lange makes some awesome stuff. I have one of their catalogs myself. Let's see. And the Glashütte book. Glashütte is great too. Glashütte Original. So you have a spare. Gift it to somebody. James at GN. When my dad was still alive, I surprised him with a Seiko Sarb 033 because I did not want him walking around with his gold Rolex. So you gave him a nice beater. But I only did it after he liked it. Well, see, that's a good way to, if you're going to give a watch, right? Watch tools, like I said, you don't have to worry about the color, you don't have to worry about the fit, but you give a watch, they should have said to you at some point in time they liked that watch. You're walking through a store, you're walking past a window. Because if you give someone a watch, it has to fit, it has to be the right color, it has to be the right style. And when you're talking about anything you're paying more than a couple $100 for, it should be well suited to the person. If you're paying several thousand, it should be perfect. Which is one of the reasons it killed me about my Polaris. Is until I got the right strap, it bugged the living daylights out of me because you shouldn't own something that valuable that you're not 100% happy with. And that goes for anything: cars, food, watches, because it's strapped to your wrist. You're staring at it all the time. It's part of you. It's part of your ensemble. You gotta like it. You gotta like it. And you have to like it. Don't wear it for other people. If you're wearing a watch for other people, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Wear it for yourself and hope that other people appreciate what you're wearing. And if they don't, their loss, not yours. So, Longines fan always. Yeah, I like Longines. It's not the holy grail. Yeah, no. Gian, James, nice gesture. Okay, some of the Seiko. Um, of all the brands, I think Longines can justify their price increases. Yes, yes, because they're not doing dramatic price increases. I I'm half behind Omega's price increases, and I'm not at all behind JLC's price increases. Just raising your prices across the board by 40% just to reposition the brand really stinks of elitism. And I hope they well, it's kind of hard to go back now. But yeah, I don't like the fact that JLC, Jaeger LeCoultre did what they did with their pricing, and Longines is totally worth the money. I haven't seen one yet in the flesh, but I really want to get my hands on the new Hydra Conquest GMT. I think that's a nice looking watch as far as I can tell, and I can't wait to see one of those in the flesh. Like I said, I'm getting my hands on a Seiko GMT, and we'll be doing a review of that. And the Nicholas Rusek's a GMT chrono. I like chronos and I like GMTs. Well, I travel a lot and I have a lot of international business. But GMTs are just a fun complication anyway. But Longines is one of the few companies I would say earned their price increases because they're not even that dramatic, thankfully. But yeah, Omega's pushing it. And, well, I think Rolex is getting their comeuppance in the gray market, but not really, not really, because 'cause I've got an Air King, I paid 9 for it, and box papers within the EU, right? We're talking duty and stuff because you could buy one from Japan at less money, but you bring it into the country, you gotta pay duty and taxes on it. So within the EU trade zone, duty tax zone, an Air King's still gonna cost you 9K. So, yeah, Rolex still hasn't really gotten their comeuppance. I mean, at the high end in the gray market, yes, but Rolex wasn't seeing that money anyway, you know? But, of all of the companies, yeah, I agree with you. Longines is one of the few that can justify the, money that they're charging right now, in my humble opinion. Carter, the Casio F91. Gave my cleaning lady one of them. They're great watches. They're the ultimate daily wear beater casual watch. Because if it's your only watch, it's not a beater, it's a daily wear. If you have a Rolex, it's your beater. If you have, it's really a, and it's so classic. The F91, it's so classic. It really is great piece, and it's a good gift because it's not expensive, and it's worth every penny you pay for it. Worth every penny. So, blue dial, yes. Thank you, Gian. Um, what kind of Rolex? They're asking about talking amongst each other. Dive's favorite style. Yep. Submariner looks great with a suit. Yes, but I would draw the line at business suit. If you're really trying to go fancy, it's a little out of place. Or trouble is it's a really big presentation because an elegant suit watch should be a little on the demure side. It should be clean, a three-hander, leather strap, something that slides nicely under the cuff. But yeah, business suit totally. I mean, like I said, James Bond did a lot to move the ball on that. Um, but me, I personally still can't wear a sports watch with a suit. I'm too old school. But then again, I'm lucky. I have a couple of nice dress watches. I'd wear my El Primero Chronomaster or something like that with it, and keep the dive watch for the bar after. And I have no problem changing my watch when I change out of the suit into jeans to go to the bar after the show. But of course, I'm thinking trade shows or business meetings that go on during the day, and you're still going to see those people in the evening. Or even if you don't see those people in the evening, you're going to change your watch when you change your clothes. 'Cause I do believe business suits for suits, sports watches for casual, and you can stretch the envelope. Like I have my Speedmaster, I wear it on a black Omega leather, and I wear that with a suit because it looks really nice, and leather dresses it up. Um, so I would say if you're gonna wear a dive watch with a suit, put a leather strap on it. Buy a factory leather strap from that company and put it on it. And then that way you're still canon, as it were, but you're more dressy because a leather strap is considered dressier than a metal strap. James at Gian, is it a yellow gold day date? It will always be dad's watch. Yellow gold day date, nice piece. And makes you think of your dad. Again, sympathetic voodoo magic. Is a dive watch good to use with a formal wear or a suit, or is it just awkward? In my head, I'm thinking of a Certina Action Diver or a Longines Hydro Conquest. Well, you just heard me talk about that aspect. You can get away with a dive watch with a suit today because things have gotten a little coarser in that sense. But I don't know. I'm still in old school. Wear a dress watch with a suit. You know, wear a dress watch with a suit, and it doesn't have to be an expensive dress watch. You can get a Orient Bambino for less than $200. Seiko Presage, Hamilton, um, Omega. You can go all the way up, all the way down. But yeah, I'm still clean three-hander with a suit. Or if you're gonna wear something complicated, it should be dressy complicated, like the Mont Blanc Nicolas Roussek, or the Speedmaster with a leather strap. Gian, as a timeless piece, James, dress watch, right. James, he's talking the back and forth. The Longines Hydro Conquest is Versatile enough, you can, like I said, you can. Even a tuxedo, if I think the part is if you are confident enough. Because yeah, you can wear anything with a tuxedo. I mean, you can wear a Richard Mille with a tuxedo if you're confident enough. But then again, you're being brassy to apologize for the ballsy watch you're wearing, you know? If you're balling that hard, you should have a 3-watch collection, which means you have a casual watch, a sports watch, and a dress watch. So that's where you pull out the dress watch. The white Timex three-hander that costs $50, but it's clean and it's thin and it's got a leather strap. Because, like I said, you want to be classy in a suit, and a dress watch should slide under the cuff. It should present itself to show you the time. It should look classy. And a dive watch is a little much for me if you really want to be classy. That's like pulling up to the restaurant in an SUV. I mean, there's nothing wrong with an SUV, but wouldn't it be cooler to pull up and let's say the same price point, right? Pull up in a 3 Series BM or book a limo. But yeah, there's a reason people dress up. Embrace the dressing up. Embrace the dressing up. Let's see. What about a Seiko diver? No, I wouldn't. No Seiko diver with a suit. No, nope, 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 nope. Because you're getting away with the Longines because at least it's a luxury diver. The Seiko's not a luxury diver. So at the minimum, we're a luxury watch with a suit, um, or a clean. Well, then again, see, a luxury sports watch can get away with being a dress watch, but a dress watch doesn't have to be expensive. Like I said, you could get a you know $50 Timex that's a dress watch that will look more appropriate with the suit than that $5,000 Longines because it's about the presentation. It's not about the money, depending on how you look at it. So let's see. Gian, I never knew what Longue watches are, and when I Googled, it just came with 5 digits. Oh, yeah, the cheapest Longue is the Saxonia, and a two-handed, not even a second hand, a two-handed Saxonia is gonna run you about 13 to $15,000 new for a two-hander, essentially a Calatrava style dress. But then again, if you're buying that, you're balling in that space, right? You're balling in the place where they're wearing a DeVille, they're wearing a Da Vinci, they're wearing, Omega Rolex's, dress pieces, they're wearing a Lange, they're wearing a Glashütte original. It depends, some people wear watches to look good, some people wear watches to flex, and at the suit level, you got both because when you're wearing a suit, you're probably at a business meeting or conference or someplace where money is involved. And at that level, everybody's flexing. Who's got the nicer pocket square? They're wearing the right lapel pin, you know? Your mileage may vary. It all depends on how you look at that kind of stuff. But frankly, $100 dress watch will go over better than a $5,000 sports watch in a suit, in my humble opinion. I mean, I often wear my Gerard Perregaux vintage piece from the 50s. It's worth less than $1,000, but it's a beautiful vintage three-hander, 36 millimeter um, Gerard Perregaux. So it's classy. It's not too expensive. Works with a suit. Watch snobs can't say anything about it, and it didn't break the bank. And I like it. So if someone else goes, "Oh, it's an old piece. I like my Richard Mille." I'm like, okay, fine. You be you. Because that comes back to what I was always saying. You have to like the watch on your wrist. If other people like it, that's icing on the cake. But you have to like it first. So let's see. James, I actually think the Odysseus looks better without the factory bracelet that flares to follow the contour. Yeah, it doesn't look as nice in pictures as it does in person. The bracelet works in person because it looks different in the flesh. But I can appreciate that comment. My only problem is you buy a watch like that and you ditch the bracelet, you're throwing away $3,000 worth of the watch. You're not throwing it away, you're gonna put it in a box. Um, but it's a really nice bracelet, it really is, and as much as I think that, some of those watches are very overpriced, at I think it's 35,000 for the Odysseus. It's a little overpriced, but it's still worth more than 5 figures. I mean, that watch, if I was gonna say a bargain price for that watch, I would say 19K. That's still a lot of money. It's almost half of what they're charging, but you could buy a good used car for 19. You could buy a good new like, you could buy a cheap new car for 19. It's a lot of money. And that's the other thing about watches is we love watches, but unfortunately they are expensive luxury pieces for the most part. And so we have to balance the, resources with desires. But that's why I always say buy a watch that you like and that fits you. Money's the second thing. How it looks on you, what you feel about that watch, what it how it talks to you, how it makes you feel when you're wearing it. Those are the important things. Because if you're buying it just to impress the other person, you're doing a disservice to yourself. Let's see. As James says, with enough confidence, any watch can be worn. Seiko divers can certainly work under 42. He's making the point that, yeah, it has to be at least reasonably discreet. It should slide under the cuff. It should. If you have a watch that doesn't slide under your cuff, yeah, you need to change your watch if you're wearing a suit. In my humble opinion, your mileage may vary. Um, so, well, we're 25 after the hour. We started late, so I let it run a little long. I think I'm going to call it a day now. You all have a wonderful weekend. Well, the weekend's over, but have a great week coming, and we'll see you next week. And this week, I will do the smashing of the Patek. We'll do the close up look at this Patek Super Clone with the. It has a Swiss movement. It's a Solita, so it's a fake Swiss watch with a real Swiss movement, but it's not the one that should be in that model. So we're going to look at it up close with the microscope too, and then I'm going to smash the living crap out of it. So take care, everybody. Love you all. Have a fantastic week.